Let me start that again with a so. Connie and I just got back from 17 days in New Zealand. It was our third visit there. We went there to visit with our middle daughter and my two grandsons that she stole away from me a year ago. And we went to spend some time with them. It was a great time, and I would love to do a whole slide presentation for you. There's nothing more exciting than watching somebody else's slides from their holiday. So I won't do that. But I got a couple of things. I'll summarize it by saying, I got to work the gizmo too. We went to Hobbiton while we were there, the actual movie set for the movie. That was our third time visiting. We went and visited with the sign. You can see the Hobbit holes. This time around, instead of just being a bunch of wooden doors in front of dirt, there were actual Hobbit holes. They had excavated it and put in rooms and everything. It was really cool. I could have spent all day there. I felt like I was in the movie. Then we went to the Weta Workshop. That's down in Wilmington, and the Weta Workshop makes all the props for the Hobbit movies, Avatar movies, the Halo movies, all these different movies. They make all the props for them. So I actually got to wear a dwarf helmet and an elf helmet and all this kind of stuff. It was really cool. Then we went and I stood knee-deep in an ice-cold ocean. Not what I was told was going to happen. They were supposed to be really hot so I could go swimming, and there was no way I could do it. It was way too cold. Also, the town of Taupo has a giant lake that's the blown-off portion of a volcano, and we got to go and stand in that too, but that was freezing cold as well. We went to a redwood forest. They actually took redwood trees away from California and planted them in New Zealand, and the trees loved New Zealand, and they took off. So we're on these suspended bridges 30 feet above the ground walking around amongst these redwoods. It was incredible. We had lots of family time. I answered roughly about 8 billion questions from my 4-year-old and 8-year-old grandsons. Anybody else have that where you get to the end of the day and all I basically had was a grunt? I had nothing left because they used up all my words asking me question after question after question. I started telling them in the morning, you've got 10 questions today. After that, no more questions. That lasted 5 minutes. It didn't really work. It was an incredible trip that is dedicated to living slow, to a country that's dedicated to living slowly and being in the moment. This is my third time there. The first 2 times I was there, I rushed through my day going Mach 10 because that's the way I go when I'm here in the United States. I went down there, and New Zealand has a completely different way of operating. They're at least 2 gear shifts slower than we are here. When I say gear shifts, it's just everything slows down. One of my favorite examples, we're all sitting around the breakfast table in the morning. Grandparents are there, my daughters are there, I'm there. We're all there having breakfast. And about halfway through the breakfast, the mom will say, hey, let's go into town today. We'll pick up some groceries. We'll go visit some stuff. We'll stop by and do these errands. Me and my family all stand up, and we go down the hall and get our shoes on, brush our teeth, comb our hair, get all ready to go. Turn around, come back, walking out, and everybody's still sitting there, and they're pouring themselves another cup of tea. When they make a pronouncement like we're going to do something, that wasn't necessarily going to happen, but it's something that was going to be happening in the next hour and a half or 2. So it took a little while to get used to that because that's not how I operate. There are fast movers down there, don't get me wrong, and there's some hurrying going on, but it's incredibly slower than what you notice around here. This morning, I want to take us back 4 years in time. When my grandson was 4 years old instead of 8. Now don't panic, I'm not going to make this all about my grandsons the whole time, even though I could do that, but I won't. Let's talk about my grandson at 4 years old, and I'll give you an example of what we're talking about today's message. There were a couple of slides I missed. You guys better run the slides. Too many things going on up here. Our 3 daughters, 2 sons-in-laws, their 3 dogs, and 2 children come over to our house at 5 p.m. every Sunday, and we have family supper. That's why you'll see me leaving here at 12:30, and you don't want to be in front of me as I drive, because I'm on my way home for a killer meatloaf with mashed potatoes and corn, and you don't want you in my way. They've done this every year for the last 12 years, come and visited us at our house, and this has become a part of the fabric of our family. This time of hanging out together. And then when you throw grandchildren into it, it all just gets better. My 2 granddaughters are here today, and 1-year-old and 2-year-old. And I don't want to get lost in that. I could show you some pictures, but I won't. This, this Sunday, this Sunday was different. 4 years earlier, this Sunday was different because the potatoes weren't done. So me and the wife are in the kitchen scrambling to get the potatoes done. All the rest of the family are sitting on chairs and in our sectionals, and they were having conversations, sharing funny pictures and stuff like that. But they were all focused on their screens. And in walks my 4-year-old grandson to be noticed. Good morning. My name's John Mrazek. I'm the executive pastor here at the church. Was that a good cliffhanger like Kevin always does? Are you guys hanging on a cliff? Because I want to be able to say to him, I can do it too. But I'm one of the pastors here. I was blessed to serve all of you for the last 2.5 years. And in the last 2.5 years, God's brought some different topics to mind. And I think he's knitting our hearts together for the next chapter of what he's going to do here at Encompass Church. The numbers are continuing to grow. I'm meeting with children's ministry every week and trying to build into them and encourage them as the numbers climb. The last thing we ever want to do is turn somebody away. We're in the midst of a real growing period, and I think it lends itself to today's topic. When you saw up on the screen, you see a picture of Wesley, just in case I lose you. So I want to tell you ahead of time what we're going to talk about and what I hope that you walk out of the room with today. And I want to do that because I might lose you along the way, or you might not be here after the 2.5 hours that our series going today. So I want to make sure we leave you there. I believe that we become addicted to hurry. It causes us to love God and the important people in our lives way too fast to be effective. This has got to change in 2026 because we need to learn how to love God and each other slowly. Am I the only one here feeling tonight like life is going at Mach 10? Is everybody else? I see heads nodding. I see knowing glances. I see that you guys are living the same life I am, which is going way too fast at times. Just yesterday, I was out with Connie driving between errands, and for some reason, the person in front of us decided to go 10 or 20 miles an hour under the speed limit. And I'm back and forth. I'm trying to get around this person. I can't get around them because they're going so slowly. And it was a fine example of my life going on the inside, going way too fast, making it so that I couldn't focus on what's really important, and that's the person behind the wheel. That person's important to God, should be important to me, so trying to get around him is not really all that good. So just so you're aware, that using a loaded word like addicted may be a little harsh, but I think I need to go there because we're rushing from our one and only life. It can have a huge impact on our important relationships, particularly with God, but also with our family. Sometimes you want to sit down with your family and get to know them and know what's going on in their life right then. And that's what we do on Sundays during supper, but this pace is not shared by all of us. We're all moving at a really quick pace. During my research for this message, I read 5 books. There's a page that you guys have inside your bulletin, lists the books at the bottom. If you missed that on the way in, there's a page with all the answers on it for you. I want to share what is happening, what we can do about it. In the book, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. Is that a good title or what? The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. Pastor John Mark Comer tells of a story of a conversation between another pastor and his mentor, John Ortberg and Dallas Willard. Have any of you guys ever heard of a guy named Dallas Willard? Probably a couple of hands up. He's a well-known theologian type person, no longer with us. But John Ortberg was working at a large mega church in Illinois. And he was starting to be concerned because it was wrecking the pace of his life. He was going so fast all the time. He didn't feel like he was doing ministry anymore. It felt like he was running a marathon. And everybody was saying to him, that's fine, that's great, what's next? And he couldn't slow it down. So John called up Dallas and he said, how could he change the pace of his life back to a healthy and sustainable pace? Dallas Willard is known for his long pauses, and there was a hugely long pause. Probably I would have never survived it. I would have been calling back on another phone to see if the phone had failed. But it was a hugely long pause. And finally, Dallas Willard comes up and he says simply, you must ruthlessly remove hurry from your life. You must ruthlessly remove hurry from your life. John wrote that down really quick and was okay, I got that. What else you got? And Dallas says, there's no other thing that matters but that. Eliminate hurry from your life. Click, and he hung up the phone. After the talk, John looked at his life and made the assessment that hurry is not a disordered schedule. Hurry is a disordered heart. Not a disordered schedule, but a disordered heart. Since reading these books and key verses, I've been challenged that this is an area of growth for me. So this is a moment I want to just take real quick and just say, probably for the most of you in this room today, this isn't an issue. You guys are okay, you feel comfortable with your life, your norm is okay. For me, this is a problem. This is a problem because I want to be really good at loving my granddaughters. I want to be really good at loving my grandsons. I want to love the heck out of my wife, Connie, so that when we finish this race, and ever how many years that is, people would say, John did it well. If I leave things like they leave right now, I'm not always assured of that ending, to be quite honest with you, because I can have a tendency to go really fast. But I find myself blasting through days, promising that I'll slow down soon. Is that something anybody else does besides me? Do you say to people all the time, don't worry, is this going to end soon? This season of our lives going to end? It's going to slow down soon, don't worry. I promise it's going to get slower. How often does that really happen? I'm going to be real bold, and I'm going to move ahead without needing to sit down with you all and define what it means to go too fast. I think we all know, right? I don't have to take any time with that. But what I will do, just to make sure we're on the same page, I'm going to ask you 5 quick questions. Keep your hands in your lap, and don't raise your hand for your partner next to you. But I'm going to ask you 5 quick questions to see if you think you're going too fast. Who drives the speed limit? Raise your hand if you, no. Who drives the speed limit? I don't think there's ever been an entire day when I drove the speed limit. I come back through the back way, and there's that Deer Path road over there, and it's 30 miles an hour. I can run faster than 30 miles an hour. And I'm creeping along at 30 miles an hour with my cruise control on to make sure I stay at 30 miles an hour. And it can't even keep me there. It's fluctuating back and forth. I am horrible at this. I live in Colorado Springs. I don't know if I said that earlier, but I live in Colorado Springs. So I drive back and forth 100 miles every day. The speed limit between here and Colorado Springs is 65 miles an hour. I rarely go 65 miles an hour. I'm usually closer to 70, 71 miles an hour. I'll lock that in. So this is, when I say an area of growth and challenge for me, you guys can all listen in, and I'll just have this conversation with myself because I really need to listen to myself about this because I need to make some changes. Next one. Show you an example. I went back to Illinois to visit my aunt. I've got this at the time she was in her early 70s. And we were going to dinner, her and I, and she was driving. And she's 70 years old. She was on the curb. She was driving between cars and lanes. She was hugging the bumper of the car in front of me like it was nobody's business. And she was carrying on a conversation with me, completely oblivious that there was anything wrong. And I'm thinking, I drive horrible. This is 10 times horrible. My aunt's going way too fast on the inside. Second question, who has trouble sleeping because their brain never shuts down? Who has trouble sleeping because their brain never shuts down? I'm looking forward to being in heaven someday because when I get to heaven, I'm going to slow down and I'm going to rest. I hate to wait till heaven, but I can't seem to make it happen this side of heaven. Before the invention of the light bulb by Edison in 1878, people used to sleep 11 hours a day. 11 hours a day. All the moms just said, sign me up. 11 hours a day. Because there was no light, and they could read by candlelight, but it wasn't the same. Question 3. Who always looks for the shortest checkout lanes at the King Super? We just did that yesterday. We were switching between lanes. It was kind of like swerving back and forth. People are confused because they don't know where we're going. Anybody else do that besides me? No. All right. Number 4. Who's going through another season of busyness that they promise people they will end soon? We talked about this one already. 5th one, last one. When was the last time you downshifted and were totally present with your spouse, your children, your friends, or God? When was the last time you downshifted, purposefully slowed your day so you could spend more time with your children, your spouse, for that matter, for God? If any of those stood out to you, then I would say to you, you probably got the same hurry sickness I have. I'm addicted to hurry. I'm addicted to rushing. I'm not going slowly. And because I'm not going slowly, I'm hurting the people I love the most. It doesn't make sense, does it? Do you really want to hurt the people you love the most? I love my family. I really do. If this is true, you hurry sickness, we need a new plan for 2026. Corrie ten Boom, famous author and Holocaust survivor, was heard to say, if the devil can't make you bad, he will make you busy. If the devil can't make you bad, he'll make you busy. You ever wonder why your life just seems to keep getting piled on all the time? I've been in seasons when it felt like I had 3 or 4 people's worth of weight on my shoulders. And I'm wondering, why is this happening to me? Corey would say to you, it's probably the evil one is adding to your life busyness to the point that you're doing bad things. When I'm tired and I'm stressed out by deadlines, my decisions are rushed, brittle, and not about caring for my followers like a good shepherd would. As the second cheerleader here at the church, I follow Pastor Kevin. Kevin sets the tone for the culture. He sets the tone for direction, and I implement. I'm getting to interact quite a bit with staff, and because of that, it's become obvious to me sometimes that when I'm traveling too fast, my decisions that I make on behalf of the staff are sometimes brittle. You know what I mean by brittle? Kind of easy to snap. There's no flex in them whatsoever. It's either black or it's white, but it's not gray at all. That's a dangerous place to be when you're leading people because there's so many variables. People are very complex. And I want to be a good shepherd and be able to take care of my people, but I can't do that going 1,000 miles an hour. Being too busy causes me to fly by the seat of my pants too often, and I do not spend time thinking through the consequences of my snap choices or unresearched actions. Kathy Jaffe, our office manager here at the church, will tell you that she purposefully does not ask me questions at lunchtime. She won't let people come in and visit me. If somebody shows up and says, hey, can I talk to John? Kathy will direct them to another time. I don't know about you all, but I get kind of hangry about 11:30. And when I get hangry, I make snap decisions. I make fast decisions. I'm not going slow and thinking through what I'm about to say. I just want you out of my office so I can eat my lunch. Be gone with you. So Kathy's learned that, and now she's saving the staff from any additional grief by keeping me away from them. I like being busy. It makes me feel like I'm getting things done, moving the ball forward. Connie also likes to keep me busy because it helps her feel like she's getting something done. So between the two of us, we can have quite a busy schedule. Slowing down is easy. So you're probably sitting there, and there's been a couple of people that have said this to my face, but I won't bring that up. But you probably are thinking this while you're sitting there. And you're probably saying to yourself, slowing down is easy for people who have to get to work at a church. And it's easier for pastors because they don't deal with real stuff or nasty bosses and customers like I do every day. I've actually had people look me in the face and say that to me. Oh, you don't understand real life. You work at a church. You sit around and hold hands and pray and sing Kumbaya all day long. And I said, you haven't been to Encompass Church then. Because we do spend time in prayer. We do spend time caring for each other. But more than anything else, we're going pretty quick. We're moving fast. Before transitioning into the ministry, I was a corporate IT leader for almost 25 years. And I know what busy is. There were phone calls at 2 a.m. There were beepers going off at 1 a.m. System installs that meant I was awake for 48 hours straight, transversing back and forth in the state of Florida. There's a 3-week training class in Sacramento that I had to go to just after my first daughter was born. So I had to leave Connie at home caring for this little screamer all by herself for 3 weeks while I was doing work stuff. Not really all that good. Since I've served in both places, I think I can honestly say to you all that church is tougher than marketplace. And once again, you're all saying to yourself, yeah, well, you don't know. I know. I was in both places. Church is more tougher because it is on 7 by 24. Sometimes in the marketplace you get to unplug. Most times in ministry you don't. When I was introduced to Jesus in 1983, I was drawn to his promise of a life that was based on peace, hope, and a reasonable pace of life. One of the most intriguing promises is in the book of Matthew 11:28 and 29. And it goes like this: "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls." There's usually two responses when I read this verse when I'm dealing with church people. One response is, "You are nuts. God's yoke isn't easy. I've been carrying God's yoke around here for a while and I'm exhausted. It's not easy at all." The other response is, "Oh, how I wish it was true, that God could give me peace. For I am gentle and humble in heart, and I will give you rest for your souls." God is ready to do that. The pace of Christ's life in these verses was so magnetic and helped him be totally with the people in his life. In 1983, I did not have that kind of life or even understand it, but it was definitely better than what I was experiencing. Pastor Kevin just finished a series that he challenged us to slow down and be involved in helping people in our community find a path to Jesus. Did you hear the first part of that sentence? He's been asking us to slow down. You ready to slow down? I heard our pastor say one time that most Christian lives are not much different than the people around them. Let me say that again because you probably missed it. Christian lives are not that different from the people around us. The unsaved, maybe the lost people, or just people who aren't interested in God. It's not any different. We have anxiety, we have a divorce, we have money issues. We are running through life at Mach 10, and we are unclear about our purpose here on earth. This means that we are offering a life to these people that is unclear about our purpose, but also not very much different than what they're already experiencing. So you're saying to them, "Hey, come be a Christian with me. It's a really great life. I had a divorce and I have money problems and I don't handle job unemployment well, but don't worry about any of that. Come and join me at this life." And I'd say to you, it's not an upgrade. Our old way of doing life at Mach 10 is going to eventually shipwreck us. Does anybody doubt that? Does anybody doubt that if you continue at the pace you're at right now, it's going to shipwreck your life? Probably. Well, maybe I'm the only one. Maybe I'm the only one. So let's turn a corner and let's focus on how to slow down our life and eliminate hurry so that you can love God and your important people better. So I'm going to list out 3 steps. When I get to the third step is where I give you 15 different ways to slow down. If the sheet in your bulletin should have blanks for that. If you miss it, like I said, there's ones on the back table with the answers all in them already. So if you want one of those, make it easier. Step 1. It's what John Ortberg, the guy I mentioned earlier, and another gentleman named Richard Foster, who wrote The Spirit of the Disciplines, called the new discipline of slowing. The new discipline of slowing. What they're talking about is what can we do to throttle back? How do we do that? What are the steps we have to go through? This is where you make adjustments that start small and slowly pick up speed over time. I'm 1 years old, and you didn't catch that good. And I'm not really good at slowing. But I'm appreciating this because it took me 61 years to get here, and it's going to take me at least that long or longer to fix it. So I can't expect people around me, I can't expect our staff to change overnight. Even though it would do them well to slow down, I can't expect them to do it overnight. So the discipline of slowing means that we're going to take a little bit slower pace at things and do things in chunks instead of all at once, because doing it all at once probably is impossible. Excuse me. A great example of taking a pause or slowing things down is the story of Lazarus in the Bible. Lazarus was dead, and Jesus raised him back to life. But what you miss in that story, if you weren't looking for it, is that when Jesus found out that Lazarus was sick from his sisters, he didn't leave immediately to go where he needed to Lazarus and help him. He paused for 2 days and told everybody he was going to pause for 2 days. Then he went, and then he brought him back to life. Jesus can take a pause for a couple of days. I think it's okay if we take a pause as well. He said in John 11, verse 5, Jesus loved Martha, her sister, and Lazarus. Yet when Jesus heard that Lazarus was sick, he stayed where he was for 2 more days. Then after the 2 days, Jesus said to his disciples, let's go to Judea. So if you're saying to yourself, I can't slow down, there's no way I can slow down, don't make me try to slow down, I would say to you, Jesus did. He paused for 2 days, but it also gave him a chance to know when best to do it. That pause, when he got there, then he was able to show his power and bring somebody back to life. So I want to give you a concrete takeaway to take with you from this. Here's the takeaway. Give yourself permission to not rush everywhere or to rush to answer someone's calls, texts, emails. If Jesus can pause, so can we. How many of you feel like when your phone rings, your phone buzzes, flashes or whatever, you need to answer it immediately? It's almost like a compulsion. You can't stop yourself. You have to respond to it immediately. Same thing happens with your inbox on your PC. You look at your inbox, an email shows up, and you immediately have to read it and see what you need to do to fix it or whatever. It's almost a compulsion. There's no pause. What I'm saying to you is Jesus took a 2-day pause. How about if you take a 10-minute pause before you answer the phone, before you answer the text, before you answer the email? You actually stop for a second. One of the people that I dealt with in an earlier church actually had the discipline of they would set aside a block of time during the day when they would answer and read emails. It was a couple-hour block. And then the rest of the time, they actually did projects that moved the ball forward. It wasn't just always tied up. I can find in my day, and I don't know if it's true of you as well, that I can spend the entire day answering emails. I walk out of the church sometimes thinking to myself, what did I do today? I answered 34 emails. That's what I did today. Doesn't seem like a whole lot. So give yourself permission to not rush around everywhere or rush to answer calls and texts. Jesus did. Step 2, we need to memorize and apply Matthew 6:33. Matthew 6:33 says, but seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. God cannot be the second or third choice in your day-to-day life. If you love God, then you need to spend time with him and not sneak him in between the kids' soccer match, a baseball practice, a load of laundry, dinner tonight, or processing the leftover emails from today. If God is number one, he comes first up before all that. If he's not first before all that, then we start to unravel our lives. You can slowly integrate God into the start and end of your day with 5 minutes of Bible study and prayer. Just 5 minutes. 5 minutes at the start. If that's too fast, then practice the discipline of slowing and do 1 minute of prayer, 1 minute of reading, 1 minute of hugging your wife, 1 minute of hugging your children. Do these things in very small increments. And that way you get success and you can build upon the success. You can slowly integrate God into your day and eventually work yourself up to 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and oh my gosh, is it possible? 30 minutes. Could you imagine spending 30 minutes with God? How that might change your life. The more you focus on God and slowly spend time with him, the better. The better. All right. Takeaway from that one is at the start and close of your day, spend 5 minutes with God. If anybody gets brave and decides to do this, come and tell me next Sunday how your week went when you devoted the first 5 minutes of the day. So that's kind of like you're rolling out of bed, you just killed the alarm. You're rolling out of bed before your feet touch the floor, you say a prayer. And you spend 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, a half hour with God. Tell me how your life changes when you start to devote that much time to him. Step 3, only 11 more steps to go, so I'm just joking. Actually, this is the final step, and this is where we get painstakingly practical. In my research, I found several practical ways to begin slowing so that you can find the pace, and rhythm that helps you slow your soul and love better. I will go slow so you can fill in the blanks. If I'm going too fast, like I said, the answer sheets are in the back. Here's the first one. You ready? This is really difficult. Really, I didn't put them up there, did I? Walk slower. I don't know if you've seen me and Connie here at the church. Connie is 4'10" 3/4. I'm 4'27". So there's a difference between us when we walk. Her little legs are going in a million miles an hour trying to keep up with me as I'm striding through our walks. And I don't just kind of walk, but I stride. I got the thing moving. I'm moving fast. I'm trying to get from the start to the finish of the walk as soon as possible because I got to go home and do something else. So I walk really, really fast. Anybody see a problem with that? Where's Connie? Ooh, left her behind. I'm trying to learn how to, and here's a technical term, meander. You ever heard the term meander? My son-in-law from New Zealand is an expert meanderer. After we're done with supper on Sunday, we'll all pack up the dogs and take them for a walk. And never fails that I'll turn around and look over my shoulder, and there's my son-in-law, good 20, 30 yards behind me. And he's over here and he's looking at a tree. Then he walks on a little bit, kicks a pine cone. Pine cone doesn't go where he wants it to. He comes over, he kicks it over there. And he's kind of meandering along. I want to throttle him. We're here to take a walk. When I said, hey, we're going for a walk, I didn't say, hey, we're going for a stand. We're going for a walk. Let's get going here, buddy. He's an expert meanderer. I think it's his New Zealand background. What would you guys think about maybe slowing your walk a little bit? Taking some time. Stop to look at a tree. In the fall around here, I regularly proclaim to God, nobody paints a tree like the Lord. In the fall, the pinks, the oranges, the yellows are unbelievable. You have to kind of slow down to enjoy them. Second one. One of the biggest telltales that you're infected with the hurry sickness is this next step. Drive the speed limit and come to a complete stop at every stop sign. They used to call that the California roll. You just roll on through the stop sign. From this Sunday till next Sunday, drive the speed limit and stop at every stop sign. Stop. You could feel the car jerk because you stopped. Second one, leave your phone on your nightstand for 15 minutes a day. Leave your phone on your nightstand for 15 minutes a day. I've been doing this lately. And I've had several almost anxiety attacks when I didn't realize my phone was sitting, where was my phone? And I have to run all over the house and then I find it sitting on my nightstand. According to Barna Institute, they do all the polling. The average person spends 7 hours a day online, looking at a screen. 7 hours a day translates to 49 hours a week. You're doing a full-time job plus 9 hours of overtime when you're scanning your phone. So what I'm saying to you is, if you took that 15 minutes away from the 49, you'd still have 48 minutes and 45 seconds, or 48 minutes, 45 seconds. 48 hours, 47 seconds. If you just took 15 minutes of that 47, would that be worth it? Only answer emails once a day during a blockout time in your schedule. I'm gonna surprise Kathy with this when she sees my calendar, and all of a sudden there's a big blackout period. Only answer texts or emails after hours, so this is outside your normal work parameters, if they call twice. I have an outstanding rule with my family that if you call me twice in a row, I will answer you. If you call me once, I won't, because you're probably checking in on what's for dinner this Sunday or whatever. But if you call me twice in a row, I'll drop everything in any meeting that I'm in and immediately go to, now my daughter's probably always thinking, let me call him now and see what he would do if I called him twice. Don't do it. Pick the slowest lane at the King Super and don't scan your phone while you're waiting. This is graduate level stuff here, guys. We're practically at the doctorate level when you start talking about this. Single task by focusing all your energy and focus on a single project. The myth of being a multitasker doesn't work. Do one project completely and devote all your energy to it. For the advanced among us, consider a digital Sabbath. There was a whole chapter devoted to in one of the books to this. Put together a digital Sabbath by turning off your phone, limiting social media, and creating places where there are no technology in your house. Doesn't that sound fascinating? Does that sound like something you'd want to try just to see if you could do it? Choose a day each week to turn off the TV and phone and read a book or the Bible. Connie and I are trying this on Wednesdays. She usually goes to bed about 8:30, 9 o'clock, and I follow her about an hour later. Now we're trying to turn off the TV earlier in the evening and just read our books. It's been fascinating. Show up 10 minutes early to your next meeting without speeding. Put your phone to bed at the same time you do your kids. When you put your kids to bed, put your phone to bed for the night as well. Cook your own food, eat it with someone you love, and listen to their day. Some of this stuff sounds incredibly simple, like why are they telling us this? We should all know it, but we're obviously not doing it. Here's one of the things that I kept a lot busy when my daughters were small. Play tea party or catch with your kids until they are done. Not a half a sip of tea and then you're off to the next thing, but sit there on the floor with your daughter and let her serve you tea 74 times. Or hand you a plastic donut that she fully expects you to eat, even though you can't because it's a plastic donut, but you got to figure out a way to kind of sneak it in around the side so that she thinks you ate it. Hang out with your teen for as long as they want you to or will let you. I was kind of cruel to my daughters when they were teenagers because I would love to show up at the door with my sweatpants pulled up to my armpits, especially when their friends were coming over and do all kind of stuff. I don't know that they always wanted to spend a lot of time with me, but what I would say to you is if you have a teenager in your life, hang out with them until they tell you not to anymore. It might be 5 minutes, it might be hours. Maybe they just need to know that you're there for them. Spend a full day each month pausing to spend time with God. I didn't mention pausing earlier in here. There's a book by a gentleman, Terry Hershey, called The Power of the Pause. I introduced this to the staff when I first arrived 2.5 years ago. And what we basically do is the church gives each staff member a day to go and pause from their ministry, to go and do whatever they need to do to recharge their batteries. For some people, it's an all-day nap. For other people, it's sitting down with a best friend over a coffee and spilling their guts out for a couple hours. Whatever it is for you, do that. Now, I've had a lot of practice with this, and I go to there's a monastery on 83 just outside of Black Forest. There's a monastery, and they've got the prettiest stained glass. And you go there and you spend the day with them. I'm not trying to push anything on y'all, but it's like $45 for the day, and they give you lunch. And I just find one of the rooms where the stained glass is, and I hang out there all day with God, and I take my journal and my Bible, and I sit and journal and write things out and say prayers to the Lord. And I come back from those things refreshed. That's just how I do it. So maybe you consider that. What would you need to do to pause? What would a pause look like for you or your wife or your children? Maybe the greatest gift you can give right now to your wife is a pause. Honey, disappear for the day. I'll take care of the screamers while you're gone. And when you come back, we'll be waiting for you because you'll all be charged up again. See if that's something you'd be interested in doing. I have a ton more stuff. It's getting near time to call it quits. It was a usual Sunday at my family. We're all sitting there scanning our phones. We're all sitting on different sectionals, and in walks my 4-year-old grandson. He's carrying a toy, and to a 4-year-old, that toy was the Holy Grail. And he come walking in, he stops in the room, and he looks at me. What am I doing when he looks at me? This. Stops looking at me and turns to the next person. And he did an exchange like that with each person in the room, each adult, waiting for somebody to take note of him. And we didn't. We noticed him, we said hi to him or whatever, but we went right back to our phones. As each adult failed to interact with him, his shoulders slumped a little bit more, and his smile faded a little bit more. I love my grandson. I'd do anything for him. Well, almost anything, because I'm really, really busy. If you feel like the little boy this morning, I want to stop for a second and tell you, you're seen. We can see you. You matter to God. Because you matter to God, you matter to us. And this church is all about seeing you. If you feel like you show up at this place, go through an hour and 15-minute long service and go home, and nobody said hi, nobody saw you, nobody gave you half a hug, nobody just said, how you doing? If you feel like that's happening here, please come tell me. Because I'm trying really hard to do that better in my life, and I want to do that better for all of you. I thought maybe, I've been told we're not going to do this, but I thought I'd just leave it with you. There's this thing you do, this thing, where you're supposed to be, I'm studying you. What I'm thinking we ought to do is reclaim that. And let's say we do this. When I do that to Dave Powell, I'm saying, Dave, I see you. You're a good man. God loves you. I love you. This church loves you. I see you. We just go around and we do that to each other. Anybody think, that's a creepy place. They're all doing that. And it's like, no, that's not why we're doing it. So I don't think I can do it. But maybe if you guys come up with a creative way to communicate what I'm trying to say, is that I see you. I see you. I see all of you. If I don't see you, come and tell me because I want to. If you're the person sitting on the couch, glued to your screen, and the people you love are trying to get your attention, stop. S-T-O-P, stop. Another stop sign to stop at. Stop doing what you're doing that's taking you away from spending time with the people that God has placed in your heart as a gift. You're going to stand before a holy God someday in heaven, and he's going to say, well done, good and faithful servant. You cared for those children well. You cared for that woman that I gave you well. That's what I want you to walk away from with today. Let's just simply say stop. Ruthlessly remove hurry from your life and pour all of your energy and focus into pausing to love your special people and God slowly and thoroughly. Slowing and pausing will change your life. Look at it this way. On average, we spend 7 hours a day viewing screens. Told you this earlier. If you just took 5 minutes out of that 49 hours, you'd have 46 hours and 55 minutes to spend doing your social media, but you still have a new 5 minutes that you could take and pour into it. I don't want there to be anybody that feels like that little 4-year-old boy, that everything that everybody was doing was far more important to us than spending time with him. I saw that when it happened 4 years ago, and I've tried to become better at it. Now, when I see it happening, I glue myself to that little boy, and I look at him until he walks away, and I follow him with my eyes because I wanted him to know how important he is. I'm going to do a little something different as I close in prayer. I'm going to read a couple of lines of the lyrics from a Stephen Curtis Chapman song called His Eyes. Bow your heads and close your eyes, and let's close this way.